Now they say this country belongs to all who live in it. We've turned our townships into refugee camps. We sit with a health infrastructure that is falling apart. We talk about everyone entitled to health care. And our public facilities are collapsing because of that. You cannot come and ask for more money to do the same thing and hope you're going to get different results.
South Africa can't belong to everyone who lives in it. There is no country that allows such things. This country belongs to citizens, and the Constitution must affirm that. We must amend Section 25 of the Constitution to ensure that foreigners only lease land and they are not allowed to own land in South Africa.
People have lost faith in Parliament. They have lost faith in us.
You know what I find strange? More South Africa, the moment a citizen says we should come first in our own clinics, they are labeled as xenophobic, when actually they're just asking a fair logical question. How do you sustain a nation by feeding everyone except your own, except us? This is not about hating foreigners. This is about being in a country where millions of citizens stand in lines for hours at public clinics that don't even have enough staff, beds or Panado. And now we must also compete with undocumented people. Let's be real. We have a home affairs system that's leaking, borders that are basically optional, and a healthcare system built to carry a broken nation, not the whole continent. This is not superiority. It's not nationalism. It's triage. Because when a sinking ship is going under, you don't throw out life jackets to nearby swimmers while your own passengers drown. South Africans are not asking for special treatment. We're asking for priority in the system our taxes fund, our mothers build, and our children will inherit. So no, saying South Africans first doesn't make you heartless. It makes you responsible. It means you understand that charity without order is not compassion, it's chaos. Fix the immigration system, fix home affairs, control the flow, then we can talk about sharing. But until then, if we're still arguing about whether South Africans deserve to come first in South Africa, then the real crisis is in healthcare. It's leadership.
Guys, there is a heavy protest ongoing right now in South Africa. They say Nigerians and Zimbabweans should leave their country.
Nigerians, will you please go to Nigeria? Zimbabweans, will you please go to Zimbabwe? Maputo must go to Maputoans. We are hardball in our South Africa. Our South Africa is rotting because of Nigeria. Giving our children drugs. We are sick and tired.
What is going on? Why is everybody against us? Even though on this protest, South Africans are saying Nigerians are Zimbabweans, so not only Nigeria, but why must we get involved? Like, why must we be involved in a thing like this? At this point, they are making us look like an outcast, making it look like we are bad people. I think we should ask ourselves questions. How do we behave when we travel to another man's land? What are our activities? Why do they hate us? Why are we the most hated? From UK to US to UAE to Ghana, now South Africa. It's becoming embarrassing and we need to act fast.
People of South Africa, I think we need to be very honest and stop lying to ourselves. The problem, the people of South Africa, you lie too much to yourself and then you end up believing those lies and then you live in a false reality. If we're to be honest, we can all agree. Foreigners are really holding the economy of South Africa down. If we chase foreigners, this thing is done. It's finished. It's going to collapse. The economy is going to collapse without foreigners. Look at the sponsorship industry that is feeding millions and millions of families in South Africa. And it's running from the morning up until Ebusuku. Some of them, they close at 10. The big supermarkets, they won't have you like that. But the sponsorship got you. You buy your day-to-day bread there. Buy airtime, you buy electricity, you buy amaswiti, you buy almost everything you ever need from these foreigners as spaza shops and tuck shops. Yeah, you can say, hey, South Africans, when we chase them, we're going to take over. Take over, Nini. We need to take over. You're still saying take over. Take over. We're going to take over when they leave. Take over when they leave. Why can't you take over now? You can't take over because you have no plan. You have no business mind. You are not patient like them. They are very patient. They are willing to run a spaza shop, umuntu, collect them 50 cents from the morning up until ebusuku. By the end of the day, on 10,000. You are not willing to think like that. So, stop saying and lying. Hey, we're gonna take over Nini, take over your manga. Look at you guys. Someone's gonna be acting patriotic, I'm a patriotic South African. But you're busy sleeping with a girl who has just recently done her wig from a Nigerian hair salon. You are sleeping with a bunch of babies who do their nails in foreigners' saloons. Foreigners' saloons. They do their nails. They do their facials. They buy their wigs from foreigners. You are sleeping with those girls, but you're acting patriotic. But you can't be patriotic in bed. Come on, man. Stop the double standard and hypocrisy and be honest. These guys are keeping your livelihoods warm. They are keeping you warm. Many of you are cheat and shama haircut kuma Nigeria. Kuma this guy, the foreigners, Amabonwanango, Mozambicans. You go to them for haircuts. Stop lying, yeah. They ask you support South Africans only. Goopy. You guys lie too much. You lie too much. People of South Africa, be honest. You support foreigners. You keep foreigners in the business of whatever it is that you support them for. So these guys, if they leave, many of you need a color. All this free will of busy going up about 7:30, 8:30 to go and buy bread, to go and buy electricity, to go and buy airtime. Lapa Guma Pakistani. It's gonna be done if you chase them. Where will you buy it? Guma South Africans. How many South Africans do you know own spaza shops? Don't act like you know South Africans who own spaza shops. There's not much South Africans. Bunch of lazy people acting like they know business. After a month they close down. They can't even be patient in business. So let's be honest. That's why we are in the situation we are in today. Because you lie to yourself. You believe our patriotic alliance, our operation to are telling you lies. Go today in the streets and tell me, by the time you wake up until you go back home, you never bought nothing from foreigners, whether Pakistani or in the streets, vegetables, apples, anything. Then you will be a true patriot. But until then, you're just a fake patriot lying, man. Stop it. But what can we say? It is what it is. We thank you very much. Thank you.
Foreigners are not the problem. We are. Let me say that again. Foreigners are not destroying South Africa. Our failed leaders, our broken economic model, and our silence are. We are chasing Zimbabweans out, while 80% of the land is still owned by white billionaires and apartheid families. We are burning foreign businesses, while Anglo-American and ShopRite send out billions each year. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to get hate for it, but I'm going to say it because it's true. Immigrants aren't stealing the jobs, they're taking the ones we won't do. In the shadows of a system built on exploitation. South Africa doesn't have an immigration crisis. It has a justice crisis. Let me be clear, I'm not saying open up the borders wide. I'm saying track movement properly, register people, set up Pan-African trade zones, community assemblies, and stop pretending that a passport defines someone's worth. If you're more angry at the street vendor from Malawi than the billionaire who owns the mall in your township, you're not a patriot, you're a puppet. Africa will not rise until Africans stop fearing each other more than they fear capital.
Welcome back to Gist9. Now, in recent days, tensions in South Africa have once again flared as groups of locals reportedly chased away foreigners from their communities, blocking them from accessing public clinics and basic services. Many of these targeted individuals are fellow Africans from Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Malawi, Nigeria and beyond, seeking nothing more than the right to live, work and get medical care. Now, this action is not just a political problem. It's a wound in the heart of African unity. For decades, African nations fought side by side against colonialism and apartheid. We shared freedom fighters, resources, and even refuge for those in danger. South Africa itself was sheltered and supported by other African nations during its darkest years. To now see some citizens turning away from their fellow Africans, it feels like betrayal to me. Beyond the human rights concerns, this growing hostility fuels a dangerous cycle. Mistrust between African countries, weakened trade ties, and the loss of our collective voice on the global stage. And this is what people like Ibrahim Traore, they are fighting for. While it's true that South Africa faces economic challenges, the answer is not to blame the foreigner next door. It is to confront the deeper structural issues. If Africa keeps allowing artificial borders to separate us, we'll forever remain divided, weak and vulnerable to exploitation. African unity is not just an ideal, it is survival, and that unity begins with how we treat one another and our own brothers and sisters, no matter which African country they come from. I think South Africa is supposed to join hands with us to chase away colonialism and not to even fight their fellow Africans. Well, let me know what you think in the comment section, but before then, please kindly like, share and subscribe.
South Africa is very interesting, and I think this is what happens when you are not governed, when you have criminals that are masquerading as leaders and presidents and ministers and so forth. It eventually shows really that the country is it's under siege. These guys are there to pocket money and nothing else. Okay, so first thing first that I find with the interesting with the South African police when they deal with this matter is that they always come out to tell South Africans to say that they cannot stop illegal foreigners from accessing healthcare. The funny part is that Operation Dudula and whoever else that is implementing this story of stopping foreigners from accessing public healthcare is that they are doing it out of a section within the constitution. That is basic. What Operation Dudula is doing is what the South African police service should be doing by law. If they were following the law, they should be doing that. But it's very funny that they come to implement what is outside of the law. And the reason I'm saying this is that every time they come and threaten South Africans, if you ask them which section of the law are they basing this on or which policy, they can never answer you. That's why they always run away from cameras when they need to answer that, because their so-called protection and whatnot is not based on any policy and or any law to want to arrest South Africans from implementing the law, because what they're trying to do is to either stop South Africans or arrest them from implementing the law. The section that says that to even deal with the issue of the section that deals with illegal foreigners, to say undocumented illegal migrants, or rather undocumented foreigners, black or white or pink or purple, all right, should not be in the country. I mean, that one is clear. So I found it very interesting as well that there's a clip of one of the parliamentarians who say that the law says illegal immigrants should not be in the country. They should be deported out. And yet the constitution wants to come and say that it is unconstitutional for them to be denied healthcare and whatnot. Like I'm saying, when you are not governed, these are the issues that you are dealing with. Number two, I have never seen anyone from the governing party sitting and speaking about the legalities of what is happening in this country regarding illegal foreigners. I've never seen them. They can come and say Ubuntu and whatnot, but they never speak about the legalities of it. Each and every country out there that is sovereign has a right to implement policies that deal with foreigners. When we go to other countries, we are subjected to the foreign policies of those countries. Like Aaron Motsoaledi has said, when he was in one of the African countries, it was Kenya. When he was accessing healthcare, there was someone there with a speed point, and he kept swiping for his services. It's very funny that in South Africa that should not be the case. All right, and yet, like, this is very interesting. Like, it's basically nonsense. Like, it's nonsense, Buffett. What the ANC has done to this country is criminal. It's beyond criminal. If truly we had a proper justice system, it should have been dealing with them. But whoever comes, the new leadership that will come after the ANC, I hope you guys go after these bloody criminals, and I hope that we can go and retain laws such as some of the Chinese laws that says that corruption and whatnot, some of them are punishable by death. we really need to start dealing with some of these issues to that degree in South Africa, so that we can completely discourage the issue of this criminality that has been taking place with guys that have been wearing suits and masquerading as politicians. It's complete nonsense, and it needs to come to an end. So I find it funny that law enforcement and some of the judiciaries, the courts, will come and say illegal foreigners that should not be in the country. Yeah, whatever they're saying there, it's quite interesting. Like, I don't even know what to say about it. I don't know what to say about it, Buffett. I just wanted to share my 2 cents there because I'm absolutely, completely confused as to what's going on, because the law says these people should not be in the country. And then now, there is a ruling that is saying otherwise, contrary to the law. So, Asaz, we don't know. We're in a puppet country, in a puppet democracy. Everything is puppetist. Yeah, everything is puppeteering or whatever the hell you call it in the English language. Sharp Buffett.
So let me give my opinion on local South Africans who are blocking clinics and are blocking hospitals because they don't want foreigners to get the services, or they are making it impossible for foreigners to be helped in local clinics and hospitals. I am going to make an example of my hometown, right? Since I was 10 years old, we still have the same number of clinics. In fact, the last time we built a new clinic was when Nelson Mandela was a president. Some of you were not even born when Nelson Mandela was a president. That is the last time there was a new clinic in my hometown. We still have the same hospital, which was never big enough to cater for the population. But the problem is the population has more than doubled. It has more than doubled, but we have the same capacity, the same clinics, and the same one hospital to take care of the whole town. And the number of nurses have not increased, the number of doctors have not increased, but there is expectation that this capacity is supposed to service an increased number of local people. And we don't have foreign nationals in my hometown, but the capacity of the clinics and the hospital is not able to cater for the local people. Now, this is not a situation only in my hometown. It's a situation in almost every town in the country. In Soweto, we still have that Baragwana hospital as the only hospital that is capable of taking care of people, especially for certain diseases. There has never been any new hospital built which is not a private hospital. There has never been more clinics built. People are still using the same hospitals and the same clinics that they were using during apartheid. So the new government, or the ANC government, has not built clinics, has not built hospitals. They have not hired more nurses. Instead, they closed nursing colleges. And now we have people who are graduating as medical doctors and they are unemployed. I was seeing story of the doctors in Durban protesting and sleeping outside during winter because they are protesting that they have not been employed for years since they graduated. That is not a foreigner's problem. That is a local people's problem. That is our problem. But to numb our pain, we use foreigners as a scapegoat for the problems that we have. Instead of confronting ourselves and saying, we are responsible for the fact that we have failed to build more hospitals, we have failed to build more clinics. We are instead blaming Tendani from Bulawayo. That is not right, guys. That is not right. You cannot continue to use foreigners to numb your pain. You must confront your pain. You must be able to hold yourself accountable. You must be able to say that we have failed. We have failed to build hospitals. We have failed to build clinics. We have failed to employ more doctors, even though we now have a capacity of doctors who can be able to alleviate the problem. We are not employing them. They are unemployed. It's crazy. But instead of doing accountability, Instead of holding ourselves accountable, we are blaming foreigners. We are then saying, oh, well, foreigners, you are not allowed to use our clinics, you are not allowed to use our hospitals because you are making it impossible for us as local to get the services. No, it is not the foreigners' problem. The problem is our government. Our government has engaged in austerity measures. Austerity means our government has decided by themselves that they will not spend any more money on healthcare. They will not spend any more money on policing. They will not spend any more money to ensure that people are employed. They have decided that it is a government policy that we will not spend money except to pay salaries of the people that we already have. We will not employ more people. That is where the problem is. You are never going to build more hospitals because the government policy is that you're not going to build. You are not going to have nursing colleges because of a government policy. You are not going to have doctors employed because the government has decided that it does not want to hire more doctors. That is government policy. It is not Tendani from Bulawayo. It's not. So can we stop doing stupid things of blaming all our problems on foreigners? Foreigners have done nothing to you. They are just going to clinics the same way that you go to a clinics. The fact that you wait 4 hours at the clinic, it is not because of the foreigners. It is because of your government with their austerity measures. Go and find out what we mean by austerity measures that our government have implemented. For the last 10 years, austerity measures have been there. You are never going to employ more doctors. You're never going to employ more nurses. You're never going to have more clinics because our government's policy is that you're not going to spend more money on things that South Africans need. So stop being stupid. Stop being stupid. And then we're seeing video clips on TV of you guys blocking foreigners and denying people medical help that they need. Women who are pregnant and they need to give birth, they cannot give birth because you guys are blocking them, and you think that by blocking them, then the situation is going to improve. No, it is not going to improve. You are just afraid to face reality. Be a man. Face a reality. The problem is not the foreigners. The problem is your government. Confront your government and ask them, why are you implementing austerity measures? Why are you not hiring doctors? Those doctors who were protesting, why are they not hired? Go and ask that health minister that you guys like and think is so good. Go and ask him, why are you not hiring these doctors? We are waiting for long, in the long queues. Why are you not hiring them so that our lives can improve when you go to the clinics and you go to the hospitals? But you will not do that. And this is the difference between South Africans and the other Africans. Other Africans, the countries are poor, but they have gotten to a point where they stop blaming other people for their problems. We continue to blame people. When your child who goes to Kiro is a drug addict, you will blame a Nigerian. When you are living in a house with butler proof, you are blaming a Zimbabwean. You say they're gonna break. No, but even before they came, you were still living in a house with a butler proof. Can we stop blaming people for the problems that we created ourselves, that we can solve ourselves, and just acknowledge that, in fact, we are the one who messed up. We are the one who messed up. So stop mistreating people.